My name is Matt Muratori, and I'm honored to be back as the MC for the walk again this year. To begin our program, in front of us is the Honor Guard. And would you all please stand, if you're not standing, and join us in the national anthem.
Present arms!
How about a nice round of applause for the Sheriff's Department's Honor Guard. Thank you, guys.
Right, forward, march.
For those of you who are not from Plymouth, welcome to America's hometown on this beautiful day here in the waterfront of Plymouth. Today we have a very moving program with some very special guests. So I invite all of you who are in the back to move up even closer so everyone can hear this program that's going to be coming up. As chairman of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen and as the administrator of Plymouth Rehabilitation and Healthcare Center, I am thrilled to see so many people here today. As a healthcare professional and member of the Planning Committee for the South Shore Walk to End Alzheimer's, I want to thank the Planning Committee for their dedication and commitment. How about a nice round of applause for them? They actually start this planning process soon after the walk ends this year, so they'll be back up and running, starting the planning the first of this year for next year. So we thank them for their work. And we also want to thank, a big thank you to the many volunteers throughout the whole Plymouth County who helped make today possible. All of you walking today are helping to fight this disease. Your participation has raised critically needed funds to help Alzheimer's Association advance research and provide free programs and services to help those in need. By being here today, you are the leaders. And in a few years, when we have better treatments and yes, maybe even a cure, you can all look back and know you made a difference. You can applaud now. That's what it says on my script. Today's event could not be possible without the generous support of our event sponsors. Joining me on stage for our sponsor recognition is Bob Romano, the event chair. Now I'm pleased to introduce our sponsors. Our first one, Jim Garrett, Chairman of Rapid Refills. Our next one, Friend Wheeler, Senior Vice President, Harbor One Credit Union. Next, Linda Chuckran, Director of Community Relations, Welsh Healthcare and Retirement Group. And from Linden Ponds, Jim Wingardner. How about a nice round of applause again for all of them? Without them, we couldn't be here today. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our corporate sponsor and member of the Alzheimer's Association Board of Directors, Mr. Jim Garrett.
Thank you, Matt. I would like to thank the association for the award, and I would like to thank especially the associates and my fellow employees at Volta Oil, the associates of Rapid Refill, for all the effort they put in to raising the awareness and raising money for Alzheimer's. I'm a member of the board of directors of the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Association, Massachusetts and New Hampshire. As many of you know, my wife of 54 years passed away last month from Alzheimer's. It was a 14-year battle, and she lost it. And most every Alzheimer's victim loses their battle. This horrific disease changes the individual, eats away at the individual's brain, destroys the very essence of an individual. And in Jane's case, my wife, destroyed her being a wonderful wife, a good mother, and a friend to everyone that she knew. Alzheimer's is the sixth leading cause of death in the United States, and in the only one in the top 10 diseases without a way to prevent it or to slow it down. More than 5 million Americans have Alzheimer's, 120,000 in Massachusetts alone. Mothers, fathers, grandfathers, friends, and of course wives. Millions more will develop this disease as time progresses in the coming years. The total cost of Alzheimer's care in the United States, paid by Medicare and Medicaid, will double in the next 10 years to $400 billion. That's right, I said billion. And by 15 years after that, it will, if nothing is done, it will be $1 trillion, Medicare and Medicaid. So what are we doing about this terrible disease? Recently, in the last several years, we've, the National Alzheimer's Project Act established an advisory council, the National Institute of Health. Their job is to lay out a roadmap on how to defeat this disease. They're in their second year of operation. The roadmap has been presented, and so far we're on schedule. However, this roadmap calls for a lot of funding of research down the road, and hopefully Congress will agree with it. What needs to be done? Well, we need to increase research funds. Currently the National Institute of Health gets $30 billion for disease research. 15 to 20% go to some of the major diseases that we're battling. Alzheimer's only gets 2%. We need to change that. The other thing we need to do is have the medical community recognize Alzheimer's quicker so that we can start treating it faster and possibly delay its ultimate effect of death. HOPE Act in Congress focuses on that. It's working its way through. Hopefully it will get passed this year or next year. Now is the time for Congress to act. Increase the resources for Alzheimer's care and research. Make Alzheimer's legislation a priority. By the way, there is good news. New York Times reported 2 days ago that NIH has committed an additional $40 million, that's million, not billion, $40 million to research. Funding will be used for studying dominantly in inherited Alzheimer's. The funding will also be used to try to develop drugs that will either slow or prevent Alzheimer's. So what can you do? Each and every one of you can be an advocate. We need our voices heard in Washington. We need our voices heard at the state level. The advocacy for Alzheimer's, they will help you get in touch with your congressman, help you focus on the issues that need to be focused on at the governmental level to defeat this disease. They have a table in the rear of this large tent here. Sign up. They'll be in touch. We need every one of you to talk to your congressman, your senator, and senators, whether it be on the state or federal level, and tell them how important defeating Alzheimer's is to you. Together we will together we will conquer this disease. It is now my pleasure to introduce a man who has served in Massachusetts for many years in many positions. Current position is our representative to the House of Representatives in Washington from our district. A leader in Congress advocating for Alzheimer's disease, a supporter of legislation such as the National Alzheimer's Project Act, the HOPE Act, and increased research funding. A frequent walker at South Shore Walk. I give you my friend, Congressman from the Massachusetts 9th District, Bill Keating.
I can tell you, Jim just doesn't talk the talk. He is in Washington, walking the corridors, helping to organize other people, and it must be difficult for people to take time out of their daily lives, fly down, because I have the difficulty, too, of making people just try to realize the common sense of the right thing to do in this regard. It's the right thing to do for our economy. It's the right thing to do for troubling issues like Medicare, Medicaid costs spiraling. It's the right thing to do in terms of our health care costs. But as I look out here in this sea of purple on this beautiful day, this is really about issues. It's about faces, it's about people, it's about loved ones, and it's about working together, because even though our research has gone skyrocketing since 1906, when I think it's pronounced Dr. Alois Alzheimer's discovered this disease, for that first whole century, it remained such a mystery. But just in the last few years, the genetic research that's done, isolating genes like APOE4 and other genes, our work towards early diagnosis that's so important, and our work in terms of trying to find out environmental and lifestyle issues that can help delay some of the symptomology. All these things are going on in light years compared to what happened before. But it is not happening quickly enough. and we have to change that. Your presence here, walking, not only helps in a tangible sense with what you're bringing to this in terms of research, but it also brings together people. And we have to speak up and speak loudly. It's easy to not understand the magnitude of this terrible disease, but it's important that we head in the right direction and that we do it quickly enough. This is a race, and the race is on. And even though we're walking here today, we've got to get people racing to that charge. I'm very hopeful that given the resources, that we can do so much on the biotech side, so much on the private side, so much on the public side, and working together, we're going to make sure that when we march, we're marching not in memory of our loved ones and our friends, not because we know others that will have it, including maybe some of us that don't have it now, that we're trying to work to prevent this terrible disease from going forward with. But we're marching, I hope, in the next few years in celebration of the breakthroughs that are right around the corner, that are there for us, that'll change so many people's lives and really help all of us as Americans and as members of the world community, for that matter, to go ahead and have lives that are not stricken with such a terrible disease. So I really want to thank you. It's not easy to take time out of your schedule. It's not easy to block a weekend away. But you know what? It's worth it. And what you're doing is so important. It gives me such spirit. And let's take that spirit to Washington, to the state level, and make sure that people get the right message. Jim does it. He's there. He'll continue to be there. And every time I see him, I think of all the work he's doing. Let's do that across the country, and let's win. Thank you.
Well said.
Yeah, give it up again for Jim Garrett and Congressman Keating. Thank you guys very much. Okay, it's now my pleasure to introduce our special remembrance ceremony. The reason you are holding those beautiful flowers for the Promise Garden that we will build together. We are all here with the same basic goal, and that is to win the fight against Alzheimer's disease. Yet we have all come here on different paths. The Promise Garden symbolizes our common goal while also acknowledging our different journeys. The yellow flower represents caregivers, those who are providing love, care, and support for their family member or friend who has Alzheimer's. The blue flower represents someone who is living with Alzheimer's disease or another form of dementia. The orange flower represents those who may not have a direct personal connection, but who are committed to supporting this movement. And the purple flower represents those who have lost someone to the disease. You will see that I have 4 wonderful community members from the South Shore here on stage with me to my left, each representing all of us who have gathered here today. This is Karen Capuccio. Alzheimer's disease is a horrific disease that robs an individual of the very essence of who they are. Karen started working for Jane Garrett 7 years ago. Jane had just lost her driver's license and needed a companion. Karen watched this vibrant, dignified, classy woman lose a bit of herself every day. Jane went from being an active woman who walked daily, often twice a day for miles, to being bedbound. Jane and Karen shared many good times, often laughing just for the sake of laughing. Jane loved music, and together they would listen to country western music. They spent many days riding around singing to Alan Jackson, and trace Atkins at the top of their lungs. Jane was so much more to Karen than someone she took care of. Jane was a friend who taught Karen so much about herself that has made her a better person. Karen plans to dedicate the rest of her life to not only providing care for people challenged with the disease, but also assisting their families. Jane passed away last month on August 25th, 2013, after battling this disease for 14 years. Karen walks today for Jane and everyone else affected by this disease. If you are a caregiver, please join Karen in raising your yellow flower. Next, I'm going to introduce Ken Sullivan, who's holding the blue flower. Ken?
Wow. Huge crowd. This is fantastic. Can I move this? Yep. I can just use this. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name's Ken Sullivan, and I live in Situate, Massachusetts. I'm 47 years old. My history has been, my work history has been, when I graduated from the University of Connecticut, I started in financial services, and primarily at Brown Brothers Harriman and Fidelity Investments, and I really enjoyed that part of my career. I had the pleasure of working with great people and mentors, people who really helped me when I needed to be helped, helped educate me on the services that we provided, and I really enjoyed being there. And the quality I enjoyed most about Brown Brothers is that the partners really cared about their employees. Given their private status, they were very philanthropic, and it got me really into volunteering, and I really enjoy that, and I continue to enjoy that now. And being with that firm was like being with an extended family, and I really enjoyed being there. I intended to be there for the rest of my career and continue to work with the people that I really enjoyed working with. But on June 7th, 2013, I was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. It rocked my world at first, but upon reflection, I channeled my energy and chose to do things positive with my time. Along with my wife, Michelle, and my two children, Abby, 10, and Leah, 8, I volunteered to be a team captain for this walk. With that, I did not hide my diagnosis, but rather I broadcasted it to all my friends and family and asked them to rally to help me fund funds to cure this disease. What changed my life completely was the outpouring of support of my family, with kudos to my beloved sister, Auntie Kathy, who was helping me so much. My life completely is the outpouring with with the wonderful, generous friends and coworkers who have been inspiring. I am humbled and inspired by the amount of money this group has raised. It's phenomenal. The walk saved me, truly. And now I'm more motivated to help my fellow man, and that's what it's all about. And that's my perspective now. I'm now officially addicted to charity work. I'm volunteering to as many places as I can. It fills me with passion, and I can tell the kids that I'm working with just really appreciate it and love it. So I'll leave with this. The next time petty concerns or other commitments gets in the way, think of the following. Lovely family and your friends. Take the time to smell the roses. Volunteer. Pick someone up when they're down. Practice random acts of kindness. Be active, be social, and make a difference. Thank you.
Go Sally's Patrol. Sally's Foot Patrol. Go. If you're a person living with Alzheimer's disease or another form of dementia, or if you're representing someone with Alzheimer's, please join Ken in raising your blue flower. Next, I'm going to introduce Sandra Smith. Sandra has worked in the healthcare field for 11 years, focusing on home care. She has seen many families struggling with Alzheimer's, but most importantly, her father had Alzheimer's for 9.5 years. He passed away last year at the age of 70. She wanted to be able to help families find resources. She wanted to teach her own family. She wanted to help raise awareness about the disease. Sandra has participated in this walk for the last 11 years, and most recently has been on the planning committee for the last 3. She gives informational in-services on the disease and how people can get involved at local council on aging's, health fairs, and assisted living facilities. Her company, North River Home Care, is training their aides in Alzheimer's disease. Sandra says that there is so much to learn and teach others who are struggling with the disease, who are seeing their family members suffer, decline, or change. Every little bit helps. Families need to know they are not alone. There is help, and there are people working on finding a cure or reason to help available to them. If you are a person who may not have a family connection to the disease, but are committed in your heart to fight against Alzheimer's, please join Sandra in raising your orange flower. Next, I'm going to introduce Ryan, Brian, and Gabriella. Rita was a wonderful woman who loved to laugh, loved music, and just loved people. She was a fighter who fought and beat breast cancer, not once, but twice. The second time, it was years into her Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's slowly took her, but she fought back. Even with her limited vocabulary, Rita would try to have a conversation. She would smile when Ryan would walk in the room and then follow her around the house. She would even dance with her granddaughter in the kitchen. Rita was known as the Cookie Monster because she would steal fresh-baked cookies from the kitchen and laugh when caught. Rita was still walking and laughing when hospice became involved 11 days prior to her passing. Ryan would sit with Rita most hours of the day so she wouldn't be alone. Ryan's daughter, who did not know Rita before life with Alzheimer's, would go into Rita's room immediately after school and read to her granddaughter, even if she was asleep. On the evening of March 24th, Rita died not alone, but with Ryan's arms wrapped around her as Ryan sang to her. Sorry. This year's walk means the most to the family team as they are trying to honor Rita. They made breads under the name Bread for Brains and sold them with the small note attached talking about Rita and Alzheimer's in general. The team held a cookout with a live band and donated their time. They held prizes drawings with donated gift cards. All proceeds went as a donation to the walk. With the breads and special event, people were made aware of Alzheimer's and the wonderful woman Rita was and always will be. If you are a person who lost something to Alzheimer's disease or another form of dementia, please join Ryan in raising your purple flower. Now everyone lift your flowers and look around you. Isn't this amazing? Keep them up high. Look at the number of us here today. This is the beginning of a movement. a movement that will lead to the end of Alzheimer's disease. Let's have a quiet moment to reflect on the importance of this event. How about a nice round of applause for Karen, Ken, Sandra, and Ryan for sharing their personal experience with us today. So, South Shore, I have just one question for you. Do you want to lead a movement to end Alzheimer's disease? I can't hear you. I said, do you want to lead a movement to end Alzheimer's? Then guess what? It doesn't end today. You need to be back here next year, the year after, and the year after, and every year until we have a better treatment and a cure for this devastating disease. Can we count on you for coming back again next year and bringing somebody with you? I say, can we count on you coming back next year and bringing somebody with you? Then let's kick off this walk. Together we will reclaim the future for millions, one step at a time. To launch our walk and movement to end Alzheimer's, please join me over to my right, your left, where the blue notches are. And let's go walk to end Alzheimer's. Thank you for participating in the South Shore Walk to End Alzheimer's, and please, again, join us next year. Together, we will create a world without Alzheimer's disease. Let's go walk.